I almost touched the laptop screen like it was a touch screen just now.
We're all kind of getting to that point where it's just like, what even works anymore? Like,
I know.
how, like there's a screen that we can't touch. What's up with that?
I know. Garbage. That's what
I
it
should be
is.
able to touch my TV if I want to.
That'd be pretty
Anyway,
cool.
welcome to the Morning Ramble. I'm Matt.
I'm Eric.
You might realize that we are remote again. That's because I'm on call, and normally we just skip the weeks that we're on call, but that I'm on call. But we don't really have to anymore because we can do this remote thing.
Maybe we'll figure out a better way, but for now, this is good.
I've got a little bit of we will be back at On Location next week.
Yeah.
So I've got a little bit of a story.
Okay, story time.
Which leads into two of our stories today.
Mm-hmm.
So at this house, and just from walking into the house, I knew that it was going to kind of be like, I just keep my mouth shut, nod, and say, yep, a lot. Because basically I walk in and the lady is blaring Fox News.
Cool.
And I'm working on her air conditioning unit. And she's just like, "Did you hear about the syrup?" And I'm like, "No. What are you talking about?" She's like, "They say that Aunt Jemima is racist, so they're going to change her name. I'm not buying it anymore."
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. So I looked into it, and the history of the name is indeed kind of screwy.
The origins, yep. Mm-hmm. It's messed up.
The next thing she said was like, "It's just like Wise Markets. They're not letting anyone wear the flag." And what I wanted to say was, you're not supposed to wear the flag anyway.
Mm-hmm.
A flag is different than a standard. And it seems like no one seems to remember that. Like, a flag has 50 stars, all the stripes in the same configuration.
Yeah.
It has very specific ways that it's supposed to be shown, displayed. It's supposed to be taken down at night and everything like that. A standard generally has either one less star, one less stripe, something like that, because that's not the actual flag of the country, and it has different rules. So if you see a flag, quote unquote, that's out blowing in the breeze all the time and is not taken down every night, that is a standard. And everything that has like clothing and stuff, those are standards. They're not flags.
American flag bikinis, standards.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there are a bunch of people who are up in arms about Wise not letting their employees wear flags, and it was mostly because of the face masks, because they're required to wear face masks.
Yeah.
So people were wearing American flag face masks, and Wise was just like, we gave you rules right off the bat that said the masks needed to be a solid color.
Yeah.
So then they turn around and they're just like, all right, no flags, no puppy dogs, no nothing. It needs to be a flat color because we have a uniform that you're required to wear on the job, and that's what you wear. People are taking this and they're going like crazy. They're like, "Why is this anti-American?" and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a uniform. If they're forced to wear something in uniform, it's not like you can walk in there with an American flag dress and...
Why not? If I want to wear an American flag dress, I should be able to on the job.
You work at home.
Exactly. Exactly.
I have a work uniform. I go to work in my work uniform because I'm representing the company and I don't want to make any waves. But you know very well that, if they were allowing people to wear American flag masks, it'd only be a matter of time before some yokel starts wearing a Confederate flag mask, and it's just a rabbit hole that corporations don't need to go down. So I really don't see the issue. I guess that's kind of my rant. Like,
Okay.
if there's something that, as a corporation, they decide would be the least harmful thing for their business, and they implement it, like the Aunt Jemima thing. Apparently, Uncle Ben's is also going away.
Also, the cream of wheat guy. There's a.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's just always looked like he's owned slaves.
He's black, Matt. The cream of wheat guy is black. You don't even know.
I thought you were talking about the Quaker Oats guy.
No. That's the company that owns Aunt Jemima. Yeah.
Okay.
No, cream of wheat. Cream of wheat. You probably don't even know what the cream of wheat guy looks like because I didn't know.
In my life.
Neither have I.
So yeah, like I don't really see what the big deal is, but people are freaking out about it. Like, I'm never gonna buy Aunt Jemima. Of course you're not gonna buy Aunt Jemima. It's not gonna be called Aunt Jemima.
Yeah.
If you go to the store and you want syrup and that's the only one on the rack, you're gonna get it.
Yeah. I literally buy whatever syrup's on sale, and that's about it. I just want to go off on not a tangent, but I just want to speak a little bit on the Aunt Jemima, and then we can go something else, because I do want to come back to corporations, because that was part of my little rant, possibly at the end. But so Aunt Jemima, if you want to look up the origins, you can. It's all over the place right now. I didn't actually know where it came from or how it began, so I did my own little research, and by research I mean I Googled it, and and it was some guy, and he wore blackface, and he sang a song called Aunt Jemima. But anyway, the company was actually sold. The pancake mix was sold like very, very shortly after, and the main person who played Aunt Jemima, her name was Nancy Green. And again, I'm not going to go into the history, but several women have played Aunt Jemima, and the company has tried to keep the name, but yet make it more acceptable, because of its origins. But Nancy Green was a missionary. She was a former slave. She was a cook, and for 20 years she traveled America making pancakes. That's pretty much the gist of it. When I first heard they were getting rid of Aunt Jemima, I didn't care. But my first thought, and you might find this a little weird, but my first thought was just like, well, that seems a little not racist, but it seems a little odd. Like, why don't you want a woman of color on your products or something like that? Like, why are you trying to get rid of them? But I guess it's like the name origins that, people are up in arms about. I don't know. I didn't even know there was an issue with it. Also, I'm not a black woman, so why would I know?
Not?
I'm not, in case you didn't know. I mean, if they change it to something else, I don't really care. I think it'd be really cool if they named it after Nancy Green, the first woman to play Aunt Jemima, maybe called Nancy Green Syrup or something like that. I think that'd be kind of neat,
That would be kind of neat. We should write a letter.
Let's write a letter. But yeah, that's my point. I guess we could talk. I just don't understand, like, these corporations, like, constantly, they're just, I get it. Like, they're trying to play ahead so that, they don't get boycotted or canceled or whatever the term is now. But I just did it before I did my research, I saw that they said stereotype, and I'm like, what's the stereotype behind pancakes? Like, everyone loves pancakes. I love pancakes. Like, what? Like, because
I don't know about a stereotype.
And then Uncle Ben's, I don't know the origins of that. I don't know, some guy with rice. I don't know, but it's all marketing.
Look into that one. There were more people who were up in arms about the syrup for some reason. And really, what they should be up in arms about when it comes to syrup is the fact that, the Colonel and Mrs. Buttersworth, who is a married woman, are having an affair. Like, that's what they should be worried about.
Whoa, Mrs. Buttersworth is a different syrup, Matt. It's not Aunt Jemima.
I'm well aware of that, but I've had this problem with that syrup for years, and I still buy it every time because of her shapely bottle.
I need something good to look at when I eat breakfast.
Keep some eye candy on that table.
Yeah. I want to come back to corporations, but did you want to talk about the WISE thing before we? Because you pretty much explained it. So
Yeah, I pretty much explained
yeah,
it. That's about it.
I mean, I don't really like. Yeah, I think it's a little ridiculous. I mean, I started wearing my black face masks with a band name on them to work because we didn't have that many face masks, so I wanted to keep them for all the full timers at the store. And then I'm like, is this fine? And then when I worked in the pharmacy, I'm like, is this okay? And they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, companies, if they just don't want, you to put like, puppy dogs and flags and your own personal whatever on them and just, any color you want, just solid color. I don't, that's rules in school and work for all time. So,
Pretty much.
seems pretty normal. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the protests real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So 14 days ago, I shared a photo and an article online, and there was a giant protest down in Philadelphia, and thousands of people ascended onto the place. And I've been keeping my eye on the COVID numbers for Philadelphia because I was just curious, like, what was going to happen. And it's been 14 days now, and I will put the graph up on the video so everyone to see. This is from the World Health Organization, but you will see on this graph that there is a continuous steady decline in COVID cases in Philadelphia, and not even a blip of increase from these protests down there. Now, I didn't look at all the cities, but I just thought it was interesting to point out that nothing changed. And it seems now, like from people that I'm friends with online and people in the news and media right now, we're starting to get back to COVID's not over, everyone run for their life again. And while I understand it's not over, I have a feeling we're going to go back into the whole we need to shut down again. And I think we're going to see that in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I
think
I'm not
the main
seeing
problem. The thing with the protests is that they were outdoors, and it doesn't spread as easily outdoors. A lot of the people were wearing masks, but it's like with
it's still close quarters, and I see even a lot of people criticizing restaurants with outdoor seating and stuff, and it's the same thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I know someone's preparing you food, but still.
Well, the restaurants are opening back up.
I know, we ate them.
So they're like, oh, come in, you got to wear your mask in, and then you can take your mask off at the table.
Some places is weird.
It is weird. Yeah. There's just a bunch of weird stuff going on. Now, I know that there are several different places, especially Florida. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did.
Florida is looking to become the new hotbed, and that is mainly because of the beaches being just completely crowded.
And that happened, well, we talked about it, that happened several weeks ago, like in the middle of everyone being shut down, that happened. So I'm guessing that's why,
It's one of those things where it's just like you can live your life fairly normally, just don't be an idiot about it. Like when you go into the grocery store, still wear your freaking mask. I'm seeing a lot of people who are just abandoning the whole idea. And you don't want to, like, the people who own the place don't want to talk to people about it. But it's like, if the sign on the door still says wear a mask, wear a mask. It's respect for your fellow man.
Yeah.
It's not like the mask isn't there to protect you. It's to protect everyone else from you.
Yeah.
And people who aren't wearing them in crowded areas, it just shows me that they do not care about their fellow man.
Yeah. I somewhat disagree, especially in our area, but I get what you're saying. We recently went out uptown, and I won't say the store's name, but me and Andrea were wearing a mask, but the kids weren't. And every store I've been in, every place I've gone to, I know Cadence is technically over the age that they technically want her to wear a mask, but no one has said one word about the kids. And we walked into the store and immediately we're stopped. And they're just like, I'm sorry, you can't come in. everyone has to wear a mask. And my first thought was, oh, did Andrea take her mask off? And I turn around and she's wearing it. And I'm like, oh, you mean my 2-year-old and my 6-year-old? And I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, it's all right. And then I left. He's like, well, can we get you anything? And I just wanted to say, well, I don't really want to give you business if you want me to duct tape a mask to my 2-year-old. Like, what do you want me to do with that? The cadence could have been solved, but I was just a little irritated. And you could also say, well, why don't you just stay home? I think we're getting to the point now where I'm not seeing the data to continue the pure lockdown. You know what I mean? I need to see the increases. Other than Florida, I haven't really seen much. And I think Florida can be blamed on them opening up way too soon, especially for recreational activities like the beach and boardwalk and all that other stuff. So, but as restaurants start to open up, we'll see if there is an adverse effect with dining in and everyone doing that. You know,
and we'll have to reconfigure our opinions.
Yes.
And that is a thing. You can change your viewpoints, people. It doesn't need to be locked in stone.
It's okay. It's okay to change your mind based off of new information.
Yeah, you don't need to stay in your playhouse all the time.
Yes.
It's not gonna changing your mind occasionally isn't gonna hurt you.
Yeah. Did you have anything else, or if not, I have one more thing I wanted to talk about.
No, when we were discussing about doing the podcast, I was like, I guess we can talk about syrup.
Let's just talk about syrup. Let's eat some pancakes on the podcast. Maybe next week. So this month is Pride Month. I think we mentioned it before. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. But there's been a lot of stuff with Pride, and then obviously the protests going on. This last Friday was Juneteenth. All that, 155 years since slavery ended. But I wanted to talk about corporations and the constant, and you're probably going to disagree with me on this, and that's okay. I just wanted to point it out. Everyone from restaurants to big Fortune 500 companies down to your smallest little video game to streaming service has been just putting out little statements before you interact with their product or something, or just online in public, about how they feel about almost every single political issue. Okay. And obviously right now they're centered around the Black Lives Matter movement and then obviously Pride Month. And it got to the point where it's like I turned on Rocket League and there's like this big letter that comes on every time in the load screen. That's just like, this is how we feel about, we're against racism. And I just want to say, and I don't know if it's because I've seen a couple protest signs that say silence equals consent, which, by the way, it's an awful slogan. I just want to point that out. It's okay that you don't have to say that you're not racist, like a video game. You don't have to say we're against racism, because it should just be assumed unless you have some type of public act that is contrary to that. And it's just, I find it not annoying. I just find it crazy that everything is putting something out. Like Amazon Prime put out Black Lives Matter, and then they have a queue that is Black Lives Matter, and it's a bunch of different civil rights movies and stuff. I think that's kind of neat. And I think I made a joke online about it, but I think it's actually a good idea, because if people want to be educated or they want to watch something like that, that's really cool that they made those free and all that. But as far as video games and everyone changes to rainbows online. Again, it's been going on forever. It's just, I find it funny that every single company has to say something. I just wanted to be like, you don't have to. It's okay. We don't think you're racist if you don't put out this statement, I
don't see why you thought that I disagree with you on that.
Oh, okay.
Oftentimes when these corporations do things like that, it comes off as disingenuous.
Yes, exactly.
Just because of the time of year and situations and stuff, it's like, if you want to facilitate change, show it in your actions, not your words.
Yeah, just do it every day in your policies and who you hire and everything. If that's what you believe in, you don't need to do that. And I do agree with you. It's disingenuous. And honestly, I think there's some marketing to it. It's like, oh, well, maybe if we do this.
There most certainly is, especially with clothing companies coming out with Pride merchandise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
it's kind of disgusting, honestly.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm just, I'm honestly, I am annoyed. I'm just annoyed with every company that I see constantly saying something. It's like, it's okay. Like, like it doesn't matter to me. I just want
not
to.
a person. It does not have feelings.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, I saw that silence equals consent slogan, and I have a meme here. I'll throw it up. But it's a bunch of people showing it, and then they showed a picture of Bill Cosby as a joke. Silence equals consent. So, do I have to connect the dots? I'm guessing everyone sees the joke.
Oh, it's kind of a gross joke, though.
Oh no, it's pretty gross. I'm just saying that silence equals consent is an awful slogan.
Yeah, it's probably. Yeah, now that I think about it, you're probably right.
What they're saying is if you don't speak up in favor of the Black Lives Matter movement or say something that you're against the silencing of black voices or whatever, you're consenting that it's okay, which I think is a stupid slogan. It's like, no, just not everyone has to make a Facebook post about how they feel all the time, even though I do it frequently. Like that doesn't mean consent. Now, if you're an authority figure, like in the police department or a public office, then you have an obligation to your constituents and the people that voted for you, to do stuff. But yeah. Anyway, that's all I got.
Okay, cool. I just had to send a quick text there. Sorry if that was weird to anybody. If it was like a weird reaching into the screen to take your soul thing. Sorry about that. Yeah, it is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us this week on the remote morning ramble. We are getting back to the normal morning ramble next week. And thank you for watching.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.